After Zhang Yi finished the phone call, he realized that the elevator was only occupied by the three of them, him, Tu Yunlai, and Gao Changkong. Zhang Yi glanced at them, thought for a moment, and didn't know what to say. He didn't know Gao Changkong very well, and he hadn't even spoken to Tu Yunlai a few words. So there was nothing to talk about for now, and everyone should just do their jobs and get things done within their own scope of tasks. However, Tu Yunlai was the first to speak. He said in a hoarse voice, "I will deal with the group of Ronin in Huazhou City as soon as possible. Then I will support you. If you encounter danger and cannot solve it yourself, just hide and wait for our support." As the Minister of Operations, Tu Yunlai is also a figure in the upper echelons of power in Blizzard City. In this battle, he also wants to make a great achievement and then gain more capital for his future. However, he does have the qualifications to say such things. The 500 Yanyunwei soldiers he is leading on this mission are the most elite of the Yanyun army. They include 10 elite mutants of Delta level and 30 outstanding mutants of Beta to Gamma level. The rest are also highly trained and well-armed elite fighters. Zhang Yi shrugged. He wasn't very interested in credit or anything else. As long as they can annihilate Eclipse Moon and restore stability to the Jiangnan region, especially the area where he lives, that's fine. Very well, I will ask you to come and provide support when necessary. Gao Changkong smiled, but did not pick up on Tu Yunlia's words. Instead, he looked at Zhang Yi. "I'm still waiting for you to come over and join us in annihilating Eclipse Moon. Don't forget, Eclipse Moon is our biggest target." Without Zhang Yi's ability to shield and predict, dealing with Eclipse Moon is no easy task. Even if Gao Changkong had mastered the power of reincarnation, it would still be a great risk. Zhang Yi sensed a difference in the tone of Gao Changkong and Tu Yunlai. Just as Uncle Deng Yuanbo had said, the senior management of Blizzard City was divided into different factions. They were competing with each other both overtly and covertly. However, as an outsider, he would not be involved in the power struggle and would not be guarded against. What a hassle. Zhang Yi thought to himself. He had no interest in power, and even felt that it would only put people in danger. Before Zhang Yi could reply, Gao Changkong continued, "I have heard the Iron Blood Squad mention the Sky Dragon pirates in the southern seas. Their strength is indeed impressive, but without the Sky Dragon King personally in command, the strength of his subordinates are just average. With your strength, it shouldn't be difficult to deal with them. The Sky Dragon pirates are very famous and have tens of thousands of members. But in an era where the top mutants decide the outcome of battles, it doesn't mean they have the strength to sweep everything away. Otherwise, Blizzard City wouldn't have needed to deploy the Heavenly God Squad to deal with Eclipse Moon in the first place. 300,000 troops could easily crush them. According to the data obtained by Blizzard City, it only takes 2 investigation squads to destroy a force like the Sky Dragon Pirates. If only one of these squads came, the Tengu squad led by Zhang Yi today could easily defeat them. Therefore, in everyone's eyes, the 4th squad of the Sky Dragon Pirates was just a smoke bomb that had been lured by Eclipse Moon to create trouble. Zhang Yi nodded. "We won't know the other party's strength until we fight them." He never underestimated any opponent. Arrogance was a deadly sin. Zhang Yi arrived on the ground floor. The Tengu squad was already fully geared up and ready to go, waiting for Zhang Yi's order to move. And Zhang Yi didn't waste any time. "Let's go!" The group quickly left the combat center, where armored vehicles were waiting to take them to the airport. Zhang Yi was sitting next to Yang Xinxin's left, close to Liang Yu, and Flower was in Yang Xinxin's arms. Zhang Yi first gave everyone a brief rundown of their combat mission. "We will first head to Tianhai City to eliminate the Sky Dragon pirates who have landed there. Tianhai City is my territory. I am familiar with the terrain there, and I have my own spies there. So the battle will be to our advantage. Everyone just needs to put into practice what they have trained for." After saying this, he deliberately gave Liang Yu and Flower some extra words of caution. "During the battle, you should stay close to Xinxin. This is her first time on the battlefield, so you need to protect her." Liang Yu nodded, "Of course." Flower opened its mouth wide, "Meow." Yang Xinxin did not refuse Zhang Yi's special care either. Although she had also awakened her supernatural powers, she needed to adapt to her abilities on the battlefield. Not to mention that her abilities were very special and the risks were relatively high. With the protection of Flower and Liangyu, her life would be safe. As for the tactical arrangements, Bai Li, I'll leave it to you. Zhang Yi looked at Bai Li Changqing and said, until I give my word, all decisions regarding the plan of action will be yours to make. Professional matters should be left to the professionals. Bai Li Changqing was definitely more adept at warfare. Zhang Yi was not foolish enough to enter a field in which he was not well versed. Bai Li Changqing was a little excited. He had not expected Zhang Yi to trust him so much. Delegating authority from a leader is the greatest recognition for a subordinate. Yes. Bai Li Changqing also accepted Zhang Yi's order without saying anything else. This decision also greatly relieved the minds of the others. If Zhang Yi, an amateur, had forcibly commanded them, they would have been worried. Admitting that Zhang Yi is strong is one thing. But leadership ability and personal combat power are completely different. The Tengu Squad, Reincarnation Squad, and Yanyan Army quickly arrived at the airport. Searchlights pierced the night sky, and Blizzard City was filled with a sense of foreboding. It was going to be another sleepless night. As one aircraft after another took off, the three teams also flew off to their respective battlefields. Meanwhile, in Tianhai City, thanks to Zhang Yi's early warning, the shelter and the three forces had all gathered their personnel and supplies in advance and moved to safer areas. As soon as the Sky Dragon pirates reached the coast, they immediately switched to snow trucks and roared along the ice surface towards the shore. Boys, plunder to your heart's content. Kill all the men here and take all the food and resources. Kanuta laughed out loud, and the thousands of pirates in the pirate gang also laughed wildly, ready to loot. If they could pull this off today, they wouldn't need to set sail again for a year. Everyone had heard of the wealth of Tianhai City. And from now on, they would also have a reputation in the world of pirates. So what if it was the Huashu Kingdom? They were going to plunder it anyway. But after the excited pirates rushed ashore, they soon discovered that something was wrong. Because in the huge city of Tianhai City, after searching for a long time, they couldn't see a single person. The city was like a dead city, and it was hard to find even the slightest trace of human activity. The major bases had already transferred their populations and resources half a month ago, and all that was left on the ground were some buildings, which had been buried by the snow. It looked as if there had never been any human activity. Only in the harbor area of Chaoyu Base did they find some large containers with some supplies inside. But those were all cars or large machinery, as well as scattered supplies, which were of little use and not convenient to transport. Kanuta suddenly sensed that something was wrong. He immediately asked the driver next to him what the situation was. But the driver wasn't sure. According to Eclipse Moon's information, there are only 4 powers left in this city now, and their resources have been concentrated. As long as you eliminate them, you can easily plunder most of the resources of Tianhai City. Kanuta pondered for a moment and decided that Phoenixren was not lying to him. Because Tianhai City had huge resources, it was impossible to transfer them away in large quantities at a time like this. There was only one conclusion: those important resources had been hidden. As long as they could find where they were buried, to be precise, where the local forces had hidden them, they would be able to obtain those supplies. Kanuta immediately ordered his men to find the places where the major forces had hidden, even if they had to dig up the entire city to do so. What they didn't know was that at this moment, thousands of people from the Chaoyu base were right under their feet. Tianhai City. The Sky Dragon pirates began looting everywhere. Tianhai City was too big. Although the major resources had basically been taken over by the major powers, however, some large machinery factories, raw material warehouses, and some small supermarkets were not completely emptied. The resources that these major powers did not bother to clean up were all good things for those pirates. After all, they are in the resource-poor southern waters, and they have to rely on looting for food, clothing, and daily necessities. Therefore, the junk that the major powers in Tianhai City don't want are all good things in their eyes. In such an environment, it is actually difficult for the bases of the major powers not to be discovered. Because everywhere else is covered in snow and ice, only the sanctuaries and the territories of the three major powers have been cleaned up very well. But even if they find it, they have no way to break into the shelter. A group of pirates who are used to naval battles in the Southern Sea do not know how to open the reinforced concrete that is difficult to blow open even with a missile. Zhang Yi's family shelter, because of its tall and magnificent appearance, has attracted the envy of many pirates. They used all kinds of weapons outside to try to break in, but they couldn't even blow a single layer of wall skin off. Inside the shelter, Uncle Yu took everyone and hid them in the basement level, using surveillance equipment to keep an eye on everything outside. Shou Jaime and Yang Xia looked worried. Uncle Yu was holding a machine gun in his hands, his body wrapped in bullet belts, and his face full of majesty. If anything dangerous happened, he would be the first to stand in front, giving everyone else a chance to escape. Shou Qir, however, calmly said, "It's okay, they can't break through the shelter's defenses. Besides, Zhang Yi and the others will be here soon." Just then, a deafening noise suddenly sounded outside. A pirate cadre had turned into a 5-meter-tall giant and began to violently ram the main doors of the sanctuary. The doors did not budge, but the sound of the impact was terrifying. Even though everyone trusted the defensive capabilities of the sanctuary, they could not help but feel uneasy. These pirates were inhumane, leaving nothing and no one in their wake. During the battle between the major powers and Tianhai City, there was still some humanity left, and they did not kill people who did not offer resistance. But with these pirates, it would be foolish to entertain any hope of survival. Shou Qir appeared calm on the surface, but she was also a little anxious inside. She quickly called Zhang Yi to explain the situation here. At this time, an armed helicopter cut straight through the night sky and arrived over Tianhai City. After receiving Shou Qir's news, Zhang Yi's brows furrowed. "Wait for me, everyone,"